Hello dear viewers, welcome to this edition of the news in English here on Rwanda Television. With me, Serish Nhore. We'll begin with the headlines. Regional analysts believe that resuming direct negotiations with all state and non-state actors, including M23, is the key to achieving a lasting solution to the security crisis in the eastern DRC. And on the international scene, the End Fund and Reaching the Last Mile have celebrated the World Health Organization's verification that Niger has eliminated the transmission of river blindness, an achievement in part made possible through the support of the Reaching the Last Mile Fund. Now straight to the details. Thank you again for taking the time to join us. Regional analysts believe that resuming direct negotiations with all state and non-state actors, including M23, is the key to achieving a lasting solution to the security crisis in the eastern DRC. This aligns with the resolutions adopted at the joint EAC SADC Heads of State Summit in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Adam Squeezera with the details.
One of the resolutions adopted at the joint EAC SADC Summit was the immediate and unconditional ceasefire, cessation of hostilities, and the resumption of direct negotiations with all states and non-state actors, including M23. Political analyst Alois Mutabingwa emphasizes that the willingness of the DRC government is crucial for the successful implementation of this resolution.
I did not expect Congo's participation to be that limited, because Congo is expected to be in the forefront, especially in the participation within the kind of summit. There can be no excuse for any leadership of a country that has a problem of this nature to have limited availability. That is my observation, and I saw that. And I only hope that with that limited availability, if Congo, because it participated both at the ministerial as well as the Heads of State Summit, I only hope that they associate themselves with these outcomes and they mean it this time to go into actions aligned with this communique.
Ambassador Joseph Nzingimana believes that although the Democratic Republic of Congo's government has long refused to engage in negotiations with the M23 rebels, doing so would be a significant step toward achieving lasting peace and security.
And it can solve if the concerned countries, mainly the concerned DRC, is positive and ready to go in the root causes, accept the decision taken, and be part of the change.
During the EAC SADC Joint Summit, a significant decision was made to merge the Rwanda and Nairobi processes into a unified framework of Nairobi-Rwanda process. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe noted that this integration marks a crucial step towards achieving a lasting solution to the ongoing crisis in Eastern DRC.
And we have also decided to merge the two peace processes that are current to try to find a solution to that crisis, the Rwanda process and the Nairobi process, which will now become a Nairobi/Rwanda process. And we have also decided that we will maybe find a panel of 3 heads of state who would work together in order to find a solution. So it's a new approach that would, I hope, help the parties, the warring parties in Eastern DRC, finding a lasting solution to the crisis.
The heads of state of the East African Community EAC and the Southern African Development Community SADC have called for the implementation of the concept of operations aimed at neutralizing the FDLR, Rwandan Genocidal Militia, which is based in Eastern DRC. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Commissioner in the RPF Inhotanyi Party and veteran politician Honorable Tito Rutaremara has urged party members and the general public at large not to be distracted or intimidated by the events in the eastern DRC, preventing them from engaging in the development activities the country aims for. He emphasized this during the elections of the executive committee of the party at the Kigali city level. The elections were attended mainly by various categories of members who have responsibilities or have been elected from the grassroots level of the RPF Inhotanyi, and voters expressed high expectations from those elected to represent the RPF members in Kigali over the next 5 years. Samuel Dusengiyumva, who is the mayor of Kigali, was elected as the chairperson of the RPF Inhotanyi in the city. His agenda includes accelerating the development of Kigali. Honorable Tito Rutaremara, the commissioner representing the RPF Inhotanyi in the elections, urged those elected to focus on addressing issues affecting people's well-being to ensure that they do not hinder development. He also reassured the public that they should not be distracted or frightened by what is happening in the eastern DRC because Rwanda enjoys full security. Some of those elected were promoted from district-level positions and their replacements will be elected. Once all leadership positions are filled, the newly elected members will undergo training to enhance their responsibilities and implement the 5-year Accelerated Development Plan, usually referred to as NST2. The Rwanda Revenue Authority is calling on all profit-generating businesses to register for the electronic billing machine system regardless of their capital. Across Kigali, residents purchasing various goods are encouraged to request electronic receipts. However, some complain that despite asking for receipts, some traders simply do not provide them. Traders who use EBM receipts say the system helps them to track their sales and properly fulfill their tax obligations. On the other hand, some traders refuse to register for EBM, citing insufficient capital as the main reason. Additionally, there are those who have the system but fail to use it consistently. The Deputy Commissioner for Taxpayer Services and Communication at Rwanda Revenue Authority, Jean-Paulin Uitonze, has stated that all profit-making businesses are required to register for EBM regardless of their capital. Currently, a customer who makes a purchase and receives an EBM receipt is rewarded with 10% of the VAT paid to the government. However, they must be registered in the program to qualify for the reward. Now, 750 families in Gisozi sector, that's in Gasabo district, have requested members of parliament to advocate for them regarding issues that arose after they were relocated from high-risk zones that endangered their lives. One of the main concerns is that they are still being taxed on land they no longer inhabit. This is the second time these residents have raised the issue of land taxes for plots they were moved from. They reported that the Rwanda Revenue Authority continues to send them tax payment notifications despite their relocation. The Deputy Speaker in charge of governance in the Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Musa Fazil Harerimana, assured the residents that their concerns would be addressed within a week. As part of a nationwide effort to assess citizens' living conditions and development, MPs spent the weekend engaging with residents in Kigali. They discussed the role of citizens in government programs designed to improve their well-being. The Deputy Speaker in charge of government oversight, Honorable Belin Uineza, commended the operations of the SACCO in Masaka sector but expressed concerns over a decline in savings among SACCO members in 2024 compared to the previous year. During these discussions, Kigali city officials highlighted that services aimed at improving citizens' welfare have been made more accessible. The MPs provided recommendations on areas that need improvement in the programs. Now, private health care providers here in Rwanda are seeking permission to negotiate special pricing agreements with high-income clients who request services beyond those covered by standard regulations, provided that they have the capacity to offer such services. They argue that without this flexibility, clients who need these services often seek treatment abroad. Currently, patients who visit private healthcare facilities in Rwanda without any form of insurance must pay 100% of the medical fees as determined by the Ministry of Health. Jean-Malik Kamali, Kalima, an investor in Legacy Clinics, explains that many private hospitals receive patients who can afford specialized services, but these services are not provided due to the lack of predefined pricing agreements.
Sometimes, me personally, as an investor, I was thinking, why can't we really start negotiating with those with, private insurances? Because, in public, it's static. We understand public sometimes, the public sector, even the government, they are giving incentives, some incentives in the medical business, where you can import, equipment without paying taxes. So those are really incentives. Sometimes we can understand that there is a compensation. But for private, we can understand they can also negotiate those, private insurance, they can negotiate with companies. So those companies can pay a certain amount which can cover, our services and be able to align on, the innovation, the innovative medical services. So we are trying to see if really we will get that platform or window of negotiating. Otherwise, we will not really be able to sustain and be able to, to maintain the gap sometimes on the innovative side.
A cabinet meeting held on January the 17th approved new insurance rates for RSSB and MMI coverage in private hospitals. These rates, which had remained unchanged for 8 years, will take effect in July this year and will now be reviewed every 2 years. Rwanda aims to develop medical tourism by investing in infrastructure and workforce training. There are 14 specialized medical services for cancer, heart disease, kidney disease, and other serious conditions that were previously only available abroad. These services will now be covered by RSSB members within Rwanda, following an additional 33 billion Rwandan franc investment from the government. The total budget for these specialized services will now exceed 100 billion Rwandan francs per year.
Alo, waramutse sheri wanjye.
Utekereza ko guhora wizigamiye n'umushu aribyo birenze? Natwe niko tubibona. Ubona nta cyakurutira kugaragaza impano yawe. Niko bimeze.
So guys, uyu munsi tugiye kuganira ku gaseke. Agaseke njyewe gafite byinshi. Kamari, ese wowe kakumariye iki? Manudi. Halo Manudi, niba iki uri kunkura mu kazi? Rero mabusha, byahiye kandi noneho bimeze neza cyane. Umva ukuntu biri no guhumura. Ako Manudi, urumva nakumva ko ibyo bihumura koko?
Ubona nta cyakurutira umwuga wawe. Erega, natwe niko tubibona. Dushyigikiye buri kimwe agaciro mu buzima bwawe na irekure nshya. Buri wese arahishiwe, wikwisondeka. Kanda akanyenyeri 150 urwego, uhitemo agaseke kawe ka packs zo guhamagara. Cyangwa akanyenyeri 345 urwego, uhitemo bando za internet uryoherwe n'umuvuduko wa 4G.
Welcome back, and now a look at international news. The End Fund and Reaching the Last Mile have celebrated the World Health Organization's verification that Niger has eliminated the transmission of river blindness, an achievement in part made possible through the support of the Reaching the Last Mile Fund. RLMF is a multi-donor fund co-founded by Reaching the Last Mile, a global health initiative driven by the philanthropy of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of the United Arab Emirates, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In partnership with countries and with support from other funders, RLMF aims at accelerating the elimination of river blindness and thalamic filariasis. RLMF is the first phase. In its first phase, that is, was hosted by the END Fund. The World Health Organization's verification is the culmination of nearly 50 years of collaboration in West Africa to control or eliminate river blindness. The project, that is the fund funded, partnered with Niger's Ministry of Health to collect and file the evidence to support the claim for the elimination of transmission of the neglected tropical disease. Now to Nigeria, where an artist is making a name in the industry with his unique technique of creating beautiful portraits, that is, by cracking glass. VOA with the details.
This one, it is knacking, not drawing, you understand? You know, something you draw is even different with knacking. You know, knacking is, you have to get the accurate place you are knacking, you understand? If you don't get the accurate place, the art can maybe look different with what you even want to do. The ones I enjoy most doing is the one that is portrait picture, that just the face and with a smile that the teeth or the person will be showing. That brings the beauty of the art.
This is not drawing. So, you know, I have to drive down here just to look at it with my two eyes, not the one I'm seeing on a video. So I was so impressed. What I was saying is different with the normal drawing. You know, when you see your face on a glass, you know, I was so impressed.
A Ukrainian couple fled their homeland back in 2022 with nothing but a backpack. They made their way to Denver, Colorado in the U.S., determined to rebuild their lives, but also to spread the joy of Ukrainian culture. VOA once more.
And Konstantin Mukhin had just opened their second restaurant in Kherson, Ukraine, when Russia invaded in February 2022. The fighting closed their restaurant, so Yevgenia says they helped locals with food prep and delivery.
When the war came to Kherson, life turned upside down. We didn't expect what had happened. We worked to help save as many lives as we could, volunteering every day.
During Russia's occupation of the city, they say they began receiving threats and realized they needed to keep their then 6-year-old daughter safe.
We had kids in basements while we helped locals, but when volunteers started disappearing, we realized we needed to leave for the sake of our daughter.
The couple says they left the city at night, on foot, and ultimately ended up in the United States. Konstantin says with just about nothing.
In Ukraine, we were business owners, so it was so difficult for us to start over here.
Konstantin tried working as a chef, but wanted to open his own venue. He didn't have the money for a restaurant, so he started small with a food truck. Restaurateurs without a restaurant, the Mukhins call themselves.
We invested $4,500 into the truck. It's an old pop-up trailer. We installed a steam table and started working at fairs and breweries.
Sunflower Food operates in various parts of Denver. An online calendar shows where they are on any given day. The menu includes mostly family recipes: sweet and savory dumplings, cabbage rolls, potato latkes, chicken Kiev, and traditional salads.
Most often people order chicken Kiev because I guess it sounds familiar, and cabbage rolls. Americans have a tough time pronouncing names of dishes, but I teach them.
But he doesn't have to teach them to love the food.
This was my first time ever having Ukrainian food. It was delicious. The stuffed pancake specifically was my favorite, and the meatballs were amazing, and the dumplings.
It was the best food there. We started following them on social media. It was great. My favorite dish is the dumplings.
Mukhin says he never expected Sunflower Food to be as successful as it has become. But despite their success in the US, the couple dreams of returning home and opening a new restaurant, one that brings American cuisine to Ukrainians. For Svetlana Pristinska in Denver, Colorado, NRI's VOA News.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of the news. But before we go, let us again take a look at the headlines. Regional analysts believe that resuming direct negotiations with all state and non-state actors, including M23, is the key to achieving a lasting solution to the security crisis in the eastern DRC. And the End Fund and Reaching the Last Mile have celebrated the World Health Organization's verification that Niger has eliminated the transmission of river blindness, an achievement in part made possible through the support of the Reaching the Last Mile Fund. We are glad you are able to once again join us for the news. Stay with Rwanda Television as the programs continue and have a great week ahead of you. Goodbye.